Hello, and welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash Customs Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up. Here to talk Stranger Things, and this is going to be kind of my state of review for Stranger Things, but we're going to do things a little bit differently. Instead of kind of just going chronological order, season 1 through season 4, I'm going to rank them all. I'm going to rank all of the 4 seasons, 4 through 1, and kind of just tell you what my thoughts of each season are as I go through them, why they're ranked where I rank them, and kind of give your most valuable character, your most valuable performer, and your most valuable villain. And of course, I'm going to do another new segment, most valuable new character per season. And yeah, so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. It's just me, no other guests. Hopefully, we can get someone in for season 5 review when we get there. Hello, I am Jake Sherving. I am your host. All right, getting into it. So, before I kind of reveal what my rankings are, I kind of want to review how I rank my everything. I kind of go through 1 through 5. They're kind of like my tiers. So, starting with 1, that's my trash tier. I don't put a lot of things in the trash tier. I don't review a lot of things that are trash, but some examples of what I think is trash. The Last Airbender, the movie, Fantastic Four with Miles Teller, Josh Trank, I'm pretty sure was the director of that movie. Movies like that where you watch it, you get mad. There's not a whole lot of valuable time to watch this movie. There's not a whole lot of value just overall to watch movie or television show. Number 2, it's meh. It's okay. You can have some fun with it. It's somebody's favorite TV show or movie. Iron Man 2, I often put in the 2 category. A lot of people seem to like it. There is some value in watching it, but overall, it's not a good product. 3 is good. There's a lot to criticize if you want to criticize it. I think of like Ant-Man. I think of Sonic the Hedgehog. There is things you can criticize, but overall, it's a solid, good movie or TV show. 4 is great. This is where you're like your top tier. You're one of those shows that like it's not good. It's great. I guess I can't really explain more. Movies that I put in this category: Ghostbusters from 1980s, Guardians of the Galaxy. A lot of James Gunn projects are here. They're not necessarily top tier. They're not like the best of the genre, but they're like some of the better shows or movies. And then 5 I have as elite best of the genre. This is where I have for like superheroes. I have Logan. I have Dark Knight. I have Winter Soldier. Movies like that. And then I use plus minus where it's like, okay, this movie's good, but it might be great. I'm leaning upwards, or hey, this movie's great, but I'm gonna lean downwards. Like I'm debating putting it lower, but I still put it like in the great category. So that's how I rank my movies, my TV shows, basically my everything. So starting with Stranger Things, I want to kind of like go into the story of how I view Stranger Things from season to season, right? Season 1, I think that really launched or helped launch Netflix. It really put Netflix into like the biggest streaming service. Stranger Things season 1 was really, really good. And I'll save my ratings for later. But it seems like every time, especially after season 2, my thoughts on Stranger Things are usually before I rewatch it, and I do this every season. I'll rewatch the entirety of the season or the entirety of the show. And every time, like right before it, I get this idea that Stranger Things is overrated. Like, I remember the show being really good, but I feel like it's overrated. I feel like the hype is just not that great. But then I feel like every time I watch a new season, I get really into it. Or when I rewatch it, I get really into it. So, and that's kind of how this time was, where, yeah, season 5 is happening. I'm like, the show, I remember great things about season 4. I'm excited for season 5, but I'm not that excited. I feel like Stranger Things should have ended a while ago, maybe like 5 years ago, especially if they did the more traditional setup of like, hey, they're going to, do a season every year, especially when you have young kids who are your leads, who are your stars. You think they would do it every year, very much kind of like Harry Potter, the movies would. but we have TV shows that are, doing 2-3 years, and plus with COVID, the gap is significant. And like from season 2 to season 3 and then season 4, these kids aged a lot. So rewatching this, I really dig Stranger Things. This show's really good. Like there's no bad season. And when I tell you my number 4 pick, my last rated season, and apparently it's more controversial than I thought it was going to be, that being said, it's still a really good season of television. And I think every single season of Stranger Things is really, really, it's a really good show. And I'm really excited, and I hope season 5 lands it. I hope season 5 is as good as season 4 was, if that gives you any clue to where my ranking is on season 4. But yeah, if Stranger Things can land the ending, this show is going to go down as one of the better shows of all time. I don't think it hits the upper echelon of greatest TV shows. Maybe it hit top 20. I'm sure some people will put it in the top 10. But it's in the top 50. It's in the top 100 in the history of TV shows. And we're getting into maybe 80 years of television. I guess I'm not even sure like when television started. But like in the history of television, top 50, top 100, that's pretty darn good, especially with the amount of TV shows that are coming out. So, without further ado, let's get into my rankings. Starting at number 4. The number 4 rated season of Stranger Things. Controversial choice, apparently. I have season 3. Now, I understand, because I have a lot of people, I've watched a lot of different rankings lately of Stranger Things. I think ranking the seasons of Stranger Things is something that's been happening a lot, and I'm seeing it a lot. I planned to do it for the last couple of months, and it seems like everyone's planned it. Makes sense. But I see season 3 way higher than I have it. I have it number 4. I can hear an argument for number 3, but I've been hearing people putting it number 1. I have colleagues who are like, it's like one of my favorite season. How do you have it so low? And for me, I'm a huge character person. I love James Gunn. I like anyone who can bring the characters, Game of Thrones being one of them. I love shows that really focus on the character work, and I think for season 3 of Stranger Things, it's the weakest season for that reason. Plot-wise, season 3 is great, and I understand why people like season 3, because it brings the plot forward a lot more than the first 2 seasons. Season 1, slow building mystery show. I think that what made it great. Season 2 was more like season 1, but not as interesting. Season 3 of Stranger Things really brought the plot forward. For those who need reminders, season 3 is all about, they defeated the demidogs in season 2. This is the mall episode. This is the episode or the season where Billy is going to be taken over by the Mind Flayer, and they're building up these army of flesh monsters to build up the Mind Flayer for the final attack. The Russians are the reason why the gate is open. And so it's a really good season for a lot of reasons, there's a lot of reasons why this is a really good season. And that's why I can't really trash season 3, and I can't really trash anyone who likes season 3, because there's a lot of things to like about this season, especially the plot. The main mystery is Russians are opening up the gate. I guess spoiler alert of Stranger Things. The Russians are doing their thing. The mall is open. Small businesses are dying, which is a really cool look at what happened in the 80s, 90s, where big malls started becoming a bigger thing and killing downtown businesses. You have Elle and Mike exploring the relationship. You have Lucas and Max kind of exploring their relationship. Will is, all the boys are being more adult, more teenager. Will is, trying to still kind of relive his childhood in a way, live back his childhood because he missed so much from season 1 and season 2. And then you have Jim being disgusted by teenager behavior with Mike and Elle, and their romance. The reason why I don't like season 3 that much is I feel like the show gets really quick into the mystery. And I don't mind the mystery. Um, one with Joyce, you have the magnets throughout the season. She's like, the magnets. It's like she sounds fucking crazy, but she's 2 for 2. And at this point, 3 for 3. And in season 4, she's 4 for 4. She's got to be wrong about something. I don't suppose season 5 will make her wrong, but she's always on this conspiracy theory that is like crazy when you think about the logic behind it, but she's right. And it's like, God damn, Joyce is on another crazy mystery. She's gonna save something. One of the better characters of the show is Joyce. So she's going on the magnets. She gets Murray. She gets Hopper. They figure out about the Russians. You have the different group of Steve. You have Robin. You have Dustin, and eventually Erica trying to figure out, the Russian signal that Dustin has found. You have Lucas. You have Mike, and you have Will on their own adventure. You have Elle and Max on their adventures, and eventually they meet up. Then, of course, you have Nancy and Jonathan doing their mystery. And I think I love that every main character kind of has their role in the plot, their role in the mystery. And the mystery is like what's going on with the Mind Flayer, what's going on with Billy, what's going on with all these like missing people, the eating all these different chemicals, and the mystery of like the magnets and Russians. And overall, I think the plot is great. You're advancing, the Mind Flayer's plot, which we know to be Vecna, or I believe I'm still confused whether or not Mind Flayer and Vecna are two separate entities, or if it's Vecna is the Mind Flayer. I always read it as Vecna is the Mind Flayer, but I almost like it better if they're two separate entities that more or less join forces, or Vecna dominating the Mind Flayer. Either way, you have the upside down monsters kind of having their own plot and their own agency, and you're moving it forward. And we're not dealing with the government, we're dealing with the Russian government, which gives a little more nuance to like the different governments involved with the upside down. That being said, I think we get really quick into this mystery. And it almost feels unbelievable. Joyce figuring about the magnets because she talks to her son's science teacher about, hey, shouldn't like my magnets be working? How can this not be working? And the guy explains like, oh, there might be some huge electrical machine that's causing this. And she's just like, oh, they're back. The government's back. They're opening up the gate. And like again, Joyce is right again about some crazy conspiracy theory. But it's just like, it just feels forced. The plot feels more important than the characters. And that's overall why I have season 3 less. And I remember watching season 3 and being disappointed in kind of the show because of this. I think, again, the plot's interesting. The visual effects are great. The characters are great. Robin's a great addition to the season. I think she's the best new character of this season. But it's rated 4. Overall, my rating for the season, it's a 3+. It's still really good. Arguably a great season of television. Greatest new character is Robin. I think for MVP, I'm going to have to give it to Hopper for this season. Maybe Hopper and Elle, but I think Hopper kind of is like the main force that kind of kills the Mind Flayer at the end. So I'm giving him MVP. I don't really know who to give it for most valuable performer. Steve is great in the season. Joe Carrington, I think I'm going to give him that for season 2. I don't really know who to give it for season 3. They're so, like, the actors and actresses in this show are so great. The characters are so great that I have a hard time. The most valuable villain, I'm going to say it's Billy, Mind Flayer. But most valuable performer, oh, I am blanking. Who should be most valuable performer? Yeah, I'm gonna give it to David Harbour. I really like him this season. Okay, number 3. My number 3 rated Stranger Things season, and I would argue that you could put this number 4. and I think most people have this number 4. It's season 2. Now, I think season 2 is underrated for many reasons. I think it's a really good character study. I like the after effect of season 1, right? Mill's missing, the government's there, Elle, the discovery of Elle and her liberation from the government in that facility. So we get a bunch of different like character works, right? We get the buyers, we get Will kind of reacclimating with his friend group, but still, him still being not just traumatized, but infected in the season. We have Joyce moving on, and then meeting Bob and his dynamic with Will and John. You get Max entering the scene. We get the boys, Mike doing his own thing, and like we have Lucas and Dustin all about Mad Max, and then Elle and Hopper are living. And I think the plot of the season isn't great. The plot of the season is rather boring. We have the government who's positively working with Elle, and wait, I don't think he's working with Elle, but you have the government working with Will and keeping an eye on him. You have Joyce having her own mystery. We have Hopper figuring out why all the plants are dying. It's a slow moving season. But the reason why I have it over season 3 is the character studies are just really interesting. I'm interested in seeing Joyce move on. I'm interested in the relationship of Hopper and Elle and the toxicity behind it. Hopper's not a great dude. And that's a whole other video, but like Hopper is not really that great of a person. He's pretty toxic. But I also think he's well-intentioned. He's a well-intentioned man, but he happens to be pretty toxic, which I think makes sense for the time, that this story takes place, and really makes sense for that generation as well. So, but yeah, that I think Joe, I forget what his name is. Bob is a great character. Max is interesting. I think she puts a pretty interesting fold into season 2. But yeah, overall, the mystery is slower. It's more horror based. And then we understand that, like, hey, the Upside Down, the Mind Flayer, what they call it, is moving through. And I think I just really appreciated the season because it's slow moving. We're getting the character studies. I'm understanding the characters more. And it feels very much like season 1. It feels like an extension of season 1. It's just not as exciting because the plot is kind of the same as season 1 in the sense that it's smaller. We're dealing with smaller monsters. We're not dealing with like the end game monster. We're not directly dealing with a Mind Flayer. We're not directly dealing with Vecna. We're dealing with minor Demogorgons. But the cool aspect is the Mind Flayer's making moves with Will, and that's kind of a dope reveal. But at the end of the day, I can see why this season is ranked last. I just think it's better than season 3, just a little bit, simply because of the character work that this season is. That being said, it's a 3+. I think it's borderline great, but it's not quite there. For most valuable character, this is where I'm gonna give it to Elle. Barely. I think she's not really into this. And by the way, Elle and her with her sisters going to Chicago, that whole superhero arc, not great. I don't think the show is that great when it leans into the superhero side of it. Season 5 has that in the trailers, and I'm just like, this is the weakest part of the show. This show shouldn't be about superheroes. This show should be less Firestarter, should be more or more 80s horror, which we'll get into. So I didn't really care for that, and I think if that's the reason why you think season 2 is the worst, I think it's the worst aspect of the show. That being said, Elle is the MVP because she does essentially save the day. She's the reason why they win at the end. But yeah, I digress. All right, ranking number 2, season 4. Season 4 might be the best Stranger Things. It might be peak Stranger Things. Now, you're going to say, why is it not ranked higher? In the sum of what makes season 4 great, right? In the whole entirety. I guess what I'm trying to say is season 4 is so long. Okay. It's only, I believe, 9 episodes. You have the first 8 episodes that were released, and then you have the mini movie at the end, which is episode 9. But every episode is like 20 to 30 minutes longer, and it ultimately ends up being like 14 episode season if you put it as like total time. It's that long compared to every other season. And I don't mind it from the sense that like it doesn't feel like filler. It feels like we needed that long for each episode because season 4 does a couple things great. One, it takes the negatives and makes it into a positive, right? Season 3 had a really good plot and moved everything forward, but the character development was lacking. Season 3 kind of rectifies this problem where, one, it goes into its horror aspects. It gives us this Nightmare on Elm Street type vibe with Vecna, especially with the dream sequences that he brings to its victims. And we really get a taste of that in episode 1, the premiere, which I think is one of the best premieres I've watched in recent days. Like season 4 premiere was really, really good. And one of the reasons why it's really, really good is it focused on the characters. It focused on the fact that Will, John, and Elle are in a new school. They're in California. We get the typical, hey, new kid vibe in California, not being cool, being weird. And Will and Elle are respectfully very weird. So they're getting bullied. You get Lucas, joining the sports team, becoming a jock, trying to be popular. You have Mike and Dustin, who are, again, trying to be popular, and then as well, but they're not popular, so they join the Hellfire group. That's season 3, so I'm mistaking what they're going for. But yeah, you have Lucas doing his own thing, joining the sports team, the basketball team. I played basketball in high school as well, so I very much get the Lucas angle. And then Hellfire Club with Lucas, or not Lucas, but with Dustin and Mike, and then eventually Sister Erica, which in season 3 she was a great addition as well. So I really enjoyed season 4 because we got the peek under the curtain of what they've been up to since. You get the idea of like the different dynamics. Max, very traumatized from season 3. But we also get the horror aspect from season 1, and we get the slow mystery of like who Vecna is. And and then of course Joyce gets her conspiracy theory, Russia doll, who sent the Russia doll, and then she gets on her own adventure. So I really like season 4. I think it's peak, right? It's peak Stranger Things thus far. I think some of the best moments have been from season 4. The acting's really good. The characters are really good. I think everybody just has something to do in season 4. And the only one that I'm like on is Jonathan Byers. But I digress on that. So the reason why I don't have season 4 higher is just pacing. And I think the middle sections of season 4 gets really long. Not really tedious. I think it's important story, but we get into the superhero aspect of Elle going to the government, the Byers Mike story when they're on the run. It feels a little rushed. The desert scene where the government's trying to kill Elle, and Elle's doing the thing with the helicopter sniper scene. It just didn't really feel like Stranger Things. And then of course Joyce and her friend Murray are trying to save Hopper. Feels very actiony. I didn't really care about those storylines as much, and we got really heavy focused on that in the middle of the season. They weren't bad. They were really, really good. But they were the weaker part of the season, and it got really long after so long. The best parts, though, premiere season or episode 4, where Max is about to die and they saved her. Like, I think that's one of the best episodes thus far. It's probably top 2, top 3. and the finale of season 4 was phenomenal. Like, I don't like when they split up seasons that much. I didn't like the wait, but I will say, kind of worthy. They made it worth it. It was a great finale. So season 4 is my number 2 ranking. If you want to argue that it's number 1, it makes sense, because I do think the best of Stranger Things happened in season 4. But if I have to rank it, as a total season, I have it less than season 1. And my number 1 ranking, my number 1 spot is season 1, because episode 1 through 8 or 1 through 9, forget what the season order is it's just, it's the reason why we love Stranger Things, right? Season 1 has the perfect mystery. It has the nostalgia of the 80s, the love of these characters, the bond of the 4 boys or the 3 boys trying to find Will. Where is Will? The government, trying to figure out the mystery of, like, where is Will, but then who is this mystery girl, and Elle. It's just one of those seasons that really captivate you, and it really gets you into the series. And I think season 4 again is peak, but season 1 from start to finish is just by far the best of the series. So those are my rankings, 4 through 1. I don't think I did my MVP for my NBC, most valuable character, for season 4. I would say, who is my most valuable? Was it? I don't even remember who I had as my most valuable character for season 4. It might be Elle again. Elle's usually, like, the main character for this. I have a different opinion. Oh, it's Max. It's Max and Elle. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's it. So, in my 4th spot, season 3. Seems like I'm in the minority on this. Number 3 is season 2. Number 2 is season 4, and my number 1 spot is season 1. But I will say the best moments are probably in season 4. And as a whole, the series is a 4. Like, this series is great, as I said before. One of the better shows out there to watch. Is it overrated? I think it's overrated if someone tries to put it in top 10, top 20. I don't think it's quite there. But who knows? The ending might put it there. So, all right, those are my rankings. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. This is your host, Jake Sherbing, signing off.